It has been a minute, but we are back to finally show the NB some love. I've done the coilovers, I've done the hardtop, so it is about time we finally turn our attention to the interior. And some of you may have already seen, we've already been a little bit busy. That's right, we have got rid of the standard seats and replaced it with this really nice Sparco Sprint bucket seat. Now this seat brand new is over £200, but I actually found one second hand on Facebook Marketplace for just £140. Unfortunately, he only had one, which is why we haven't got a matching one yet. Also, the missus does kind of like the heated seat, and we are going into winter, so. But the seat is in really good condition. As you can see, there are a couple signs of wear, but I'm going to be driving the net every day anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Plus, it came on MX5 rails already, and it came with Sparco harnesses, so when we get the roll bar, it's all going to be nice matchy-matchy. But you're probably thinking, well, the seat's already in, so what's the video about? Well, the process of fitting the seat wasn't exactly entertaining. There wasn't really anything to do, apart from the MX5 rails that it did come on. For the love of God, I could not get to fit, so I actually swapped over onto my OEM rails, which did require a little bit of drilling, but again, it's just not exactly fun to watch. And then it's literally 4 bolts and the seat goes straight in. When we get the passenger seat, that will be a little bit more difficult because I think there's an airbag to deal with, whereas this one, it had the heated seat plug, but again, that was literally just unplugged and then everything was fine. So if we're not fitting the seats, I wonder what we could be changing instead. That's right, I've bought a new steering wheel and look, it's matching. So this is the Sparco 323 steering wheel. Again, I got this off Marketplace and you can see it already comes on the BG quick release system. Now it's out in the sun, you can see it needs a bit more of a scrub. However, I haven't really got another chance to fit this, so I just want to get it in and I'll take it off and scrub it later. Now this camera angle does not show at all, but this steering wheel was actually 20mm smaller than my original wheel. And I wanted that because as you can see, since I put my bucket seat in, there's not a lot of clearance in between the wheel and my leg, especially when I put my hand there. It does hit it a lot. Big thigh problems, eh? But I have already disconnected the battery and left it for 15 minutes, which means it should be safe to get the airbag off. A little bit of an extra precaution because I don't really want to get slammed in the face. Now to get this middle bit of the steering wheel off, basically there's 2 bolts on either side of the steering wheel under these little like covers, which should just pop off like that. You may be wondering why there's a hoodie here. It's basically just to keep the door open because the wind keeps slamming it. Now I don't really know what I'm doing, I'm just following videos, so as an extra precaution, I'm not going to sit in front of the steering wheel when I undo the airbag, you know, just in case. Now that is the most dangerous bit done, and this shouldn't be a problem anymore, but we're going to be a little bit careful when putting it down because it is still an airbag at the end of the day. I'm going to say probably do not follow this video when you're trying to fit a steering wheel because I'm absolutely clueless, and I am following a video of loads of people who have done it, but just in case. I should have probably had some supervision. Now that's the airbag out of the picture, we need to deal with this 21mm bolt that holds the steering wheel in place. Now the steering lock is on, which will stop it spinning around when we're trying to break the bolt. However, we are going to only loosen it a little bit at first and then loosen the steering wheel and then take the whole thing off because we don't want to damage the splines. I'm pretty sure that's the reason why. I just know that you shouldn't take the bolt fully off until the steering wheel's loose. Now my trusty Halfords toolbox didn't come with a 21mm socket, so you had to buy this extender and then a 21mm socket as well. That did not want to come loose, but no one is a match for the sniper scope. Now that it's only a little bit off, I'm pretty sure you just meant to mash the steering wheel like that. No, that didn't work. And just like that, the steering wheel is successfully off. But actually now, if I'd put that there like that, you can kind of see how much smaller this steering wheel is. It's not much, but I'm hoping it will make a difference. Next on the list is to get this like cover off, and I think it's literally just 3 screws and they're all on the bottom. You've got one there, one this side, and then one bit further towards the back there. If you're going to do the steering wheel and bucket seat combination like me, I'd recommend doing the steering wheel first maybe, just because it's a little bit easier getting in and out the car and reaching different things when you don't have the side bits of a bucket seat. Last but not least, on the removal part of it is the clock spring, which is just these 3 Phillip head screws. That's the clock spring completely disconnected, and this is gross. Just look at all like the dust and rubbish behind there. That's gross. This bit seems like freshly lubricated though, so does that mean people have been here before, or? I don't know, but I'm going to give it a little bit of a wipe down and then we can start fitting the new steering wheel. I know no one's going to see it, but it's just gross and it's going to bug me. Right, as you can see, I skipped past a couple steps, so I'm going to break it down quick. As you can see, the boss is on. It does have this little rubber bit to go over the top to make it look a little bit nicer, but that's pretty self-explanatory. You literally just put it back on and put that 21mm nut over the top and just tighten it as much as you can, just making sure the bit that says up the top is up the top. Then on top of that, you have part of the quick release system. As you can see, these little like Allen key screws aren't looking very nice. They're a bit rusted, so I'll probably have to buy replacements for them just to make it look a little bit nicer. But that was literally just screwed onto the boss kit like that. Now obviously the stock steering wheel has an airbag and this one doesn't, which means that when this one goes on, there will be an airbag light popping up on the dash, and we don't want that. So to tackle this problem, I've bought this cheap little airbag resistor off of eBay. It was literally £4. It is for the MB MX5 apparently, and it goes straight into here to basically trick the car into thinking that it has an airbag, so there shouldn't be any light and all the other airbags should work fine. Now obviously I know everyone has their opinions on airbags, on whether they actually help or whether they make things worse, but obviously it is legal and it's meant to be in there for your safety, so I shouldn't really condone taking your airbag out unless you're planning on putting harnesses in with a roll bar. All I'm saying is keep your eye on my channel because it could happen sooner than you think. I may or may not have already bought both. Anyway, back to the steering wheel. That is the airbag resistor in, so hopefully that stops the light coming up on the dash, but we'll find out when we turn the car on. Now onto the horn. I'm just going to hop in here from the future because I actually spent way too much time rambling on about the horn, and I actually spent some time trying to fit it just for it to click that it's a quick release. How am I going to wire the horn button that's on the steering wheel through the hub to whatever it needs to be wired to and still manage to take the steering wheel off? I don't know how I didn't think about this problem at the time, but what I'm going to do is install an aftermarket button somewhere around the steering wheel, I'm not sure yet, which will basically just relocate the horn. However, I want to get this video out, so I'm not going to do that in this video, but if you do want to see how I do it and how I relocate the horn, then let me know in the comments below, and I'll upload a separate video when I do it. But for now, let's get back to installing the steering wheel. Now, do not do what I did and leave the horn. I'm pretty sure it's a legal requirement to have a horn. Just make sure you're fully educated, because I'm not. We're now back to the past and we need to get this cover back on here to make it look a little bit nicer, and then it's time for the fun bit of putting the steering wheel on. Right, with that all back on and looking all right, it's time for the moment of truth. Unfortunately, I don't think this quick release system makes that really nice ding noise that you see go viral all over TikTok. I think it is literally just a click, so maybe we'll change that in the future, but let's just get the steering wheel on. For future, we'll have to insert the ding noise, but for now, there it is. Oh, it looks so good. It is a little bit closer, so I'll see how it drives before I consider like a short hub adapter. But as you can see, the size of it is perfect. There's so much more room around the bottom here for my hands. And now I can join all the cool kids and hang it from my wing mirror. I'm absolutely over the moon with it, and once I give it a good scrub and sort out those bolts in the middle, it will look even more mint. But there's still one more thing to do. Connect the battery and see if that airbag light comes on. God, riveting stuff. Will there be an airbag or not? Well, at least I connected the battery right. Ah! It's gone! I can't lie, that delay in it turning it off had me a tiny little bit worried, but I don't know why I'm so surprised because that's literally what it's meant to do. No, this is not my first sponsor, but I will put the link to the airbag resistor in the description below, just in case you have an MB MX5, you're looking to change the steering wheel and you need an airbag resistor. Just make sure this does still turn the wheels, which it does. The steering wheel's on, the car has started. Surely there's just one more thing to do. I made a mistake. I took it out on a drive and I realised that my steering wheel was not straight at all, so something must have gone wrong, and it did. Now I'm so dumb, see that arrow there where it says top? I thought that should be pointing straight up, so that meant that this hole was a little bit off centre. But you can see here that this has a screw hole dead in the centre, so obviously that would mean that my steering wheel is leaning to the left. And that's what happened. I was literally driving around like that. So that means we obviously had to take it all apart, take the hub off and just turn it right a little bit. But you think that hub wanted to come off? No, of course it didn't. But after a lot of bashing and pulling, I did eventually get the hub off and I've put it back on and I'm 99% sure it's straight. I've gone up and down the road and it seemed fine, but I guess you won't know until you go a little bit faster. But if it isn't straight, it's by the smallest amount, and then that's literally just try and get it back off again and then move it like a teeth or two over. Now this lighting isn't great, so let's get the steering wheel back on and give it a proper test to see how it is. Obviously there's not much to record because it is just a steering wheel, but the feel of it, the fact the position is closer to me, the fact that it's smaller, obviously, it makes such a big difference to the driving experience. And it makes it feel like 10 times more like a race car. Now the wheel isn't obviously dead center, it is slightly to the left, but when I move it like a teeth to the right, it's then slightly right. So I think that's an alignment issue, so that will be sorted, but it's ever so slight, and I don't think I would have noticed it with a stock steering wheel, so maybe that's because of the coilovers. Well, that's how mum not to install a steering wheel to an MX5 NB. I mean, it did work out, I just got to do the horn. It does make an absolutely massive difference in my opinion anyway. I did actually try the steering wheel without the quick release system, so the steering wheel was closer that way, and it wasn't half as nice as it is like this. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments what you actually think of my new steering wheel. Also, let me know what you think I should do next. I'm probably going to have to tackle the rust because that is slowly coming through. But for now, I think the interior is coming along nicely, especially once I get a matching seat and obviously the roll bar put in and the harnesses. It's all going to come together even better, and the steering wheel is a big step towards this interior getting perfect. Now, I'm not looking forward to having to clean the suede because I've heard that's a bit of a ball ache. However, thank you so much for watching another episode of Project Pocket Rocket, and I'll see you in the next one. Race car!